The witch hunt is dead, gone, it is buried. The real Russia investigation is only beginning. Now, today's hearing capped off what will now go down in history as one of the single biggest, most epic embarrassments in history, in American history. What happened today should shock the conscience of every American. The liars in the Democratic Party, their cheerleaders and the media mob, they have been exposed yet again. You can never trust these people, ever. For 2+ long years, 2.5 years, there they were. Now Robert Mueller, the golden goose. According to them, he was going to swoop in and prove their insane Russian lies, conspiracy theories once and for all, and that Donald Trump is going to be washed up and impeached and run out of town. Well, as a matter of fact, I'm watching the media today, and they were just about more depressed than they were on election night 2016. All week they were hyping up Mueller's testimony. Just this weekend, you had two of the biggest liars in the United States Congress. There they were, Chairman Nadler and the cowardly Adam Schiff, predicting Mueller's remarks would prove the president's guilt as an unindicted co-conspirator responsible for high crimes and misdemeanors. Well, it's safe to say that never happened. And per usual, the two biggest liars in Congress were caught lying again. Robert Mueller's testimony, well, the only way to put it, it was an unmitigated disaster. It was ugly. Here is just a small sample of what went down. We have a busy show today. Small sample.
Mr. Mueller, who wrote the 9-minute comments you read at your May 29th press conference?
I'm not going to get into that.
Okay, so that's what I thought. You didn't write it.
Can you give me an example other than Donald Trump where the Justice Department determined that an investigated person was not exonerated because their innocence was not conclusively determined?
I cannot, but this is a unique situation.
Well, you can't. Time is short. I've got 5 minutes. Let's just leave it at you can't find it because I'll tell you why. It doesn't exist.
What's interesting, you can charge 13 Russians no one's ever heard of, no one's ever seen. No one's ever going to hear of them. No one's ever going to see them. You can charge them. You can charge all kinds of people who are around the president with false statements. But the guy who launches the guy who puts this whole story in motion, you can't charge him. I think that's amazing.
I'm not certain I agree with your characterizations.
Well, I'm reading from your report.
Only one of two things is possible, right? Either Steele made this whole thing up and there were never any Russians telling him of this vast criminal conspiracy that you didn't find, or Russians lied to Steele. Now, if Russians were lying to Steele to undermine our confidence in our duly elected president, that would seem to be precisely your purview because you stated in your opening that the organizing principle was to fully and thoroughly investigate Russia's interference. But you weren't interested in whether or not Russians were interfering through Christopher Steele. And if Steele was lying, then you should have charged him with lying like you charged a variety of other people. But you say nothing about this in your report.
Great point, Jordan. Great point, Getz. These guys were amazing today. Not a good day at all for Robert Mueller. The liars in the media mob, the conspiracy theorists, those pushing a hoax in Congress and the media. As a matter of fact, even a worse day for Democrats. They used Mueller as their big pawn in what was a disgusting political game. They came up empty, but dangerously close to literally creating damage that would probably be unfixable. Byron York writing that Mueller's confused and dazed performance raises questions about handling of the investigation. Obama's former chief strategist, David Axelrod, say this is very, very painful. The conspiracy theorists over there at Roswell Maddow's MSDNC, they even called the hearing, just boring and confused, and then admitted, even Chucky Todd admitted it was a disaster. Well-known Trump hater Lawrence Tribe also called the hearing a disaster. And cue the violins because the witch hunt is dead. The media mob is in mourning. This is probably the most depressed they've been since election night 2016, when they got those exit polls, 515, showed, oh my gosh, Donald Trump didn't win a single state. They started their coverage at 6 o'clock. They were happy, gleeful, giddy, excited. They couldn't believe it. And then the night unfolded and reality caught up. Kind of like today. Take a look.
There were times in the hearing when he was sharp as a tack, but we can't avoid the fact that There were times in the hearing that he was not.
Well, today, he was a witness. And he frankly wasn't a really good witness. They needed to bring the report to life.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, it didn't come to life. It's still slumbering.
Yeah.
In fact, it is in a deep sleep.
He was the FBI director when I worked for George W. Bush. To be honest, this was not the Robert Mueller I knew.
Bob Mueller's not a made-for-TV guy, and we live in a made-for-TV society.
If you were looking for a made-for-TV kind of character, Mueller was not that perhaps today.
You do not have that viral movie trailer moment.
You know, we talked about folks preferring movies to books. Occasionally the books are better than the movies. In this case, the book was much better than the movie.
A lot of Democrats in particular used the D word and branded this a disaster.
On optics, this was a disaster.
You look who's winning now. It certainly seems like Donald Trump is winning.
They're sad, they're in mourning because Mueller's testimony put a stake right through the heart of their lies, their impeachment dreams. Impeachment, well, now it's political suicide because it's finished. It's over. And while the media, of course, the mob is in mourning, President Trump, well, he was rightfully optimistic. But think about this. This president has lived with this almost since the time he came down that escalator with his wife, Melania. And it has gotten worse and worse every second, minute, hour of every day. But in spite of that, look at the success. Look at the trade deals. Look at the deregulation. Record low unemployment. The best employment situation since 1969. Isn't that great for the American people? Record low unemployment for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, women in the workplace, youth unemployment. Now, I know if you watch other networks, you probably have never heard these statistics. In spite of this hanging over his head, the daily, incessant, nonstop pressure, heat that this president took, he still got the job done. Watch this.
I think everybody understands what's going on. There was no defense to this ridiculous hoax, this witch hunt that's been going on for a long time. This was a very big day for our country. This was a very big day for the Republican Party. And you could say it was a great day for me, but I don't even like to say that. It's great. The Democrats had nothing, and now they have less than nothing. And I think they're going to lose the 2020 election very big, including congressional seats, because of the path that they chose.
Now, for years on this program, and I want to say a very big thank you to the ensemble team that we have here. I can't mention everybody. I won't even begin to. But you know the people that we have had on. And we have been in the forefront of them, peeling one layer of the onion after another, after another, after another. It has been arduous. It has been shoe leather reporting the way it should be done. And we were in the minority as others perpetrated the lying, the hoax, the collusion, the conspiracy theories. And you know what? We told you from the beginning that the president was burdened with an unjust, biased witch hunt. We told you that today's hearing was nothing more than a political stunt, a Hail Mary, last-ditch effort to keep the Democrats' fake, phony narrative alive. We also told you that Mueller's testimony would likely backfire on the Democrats. And as it turns out, we were right all along. Now, part two of this, as well, the Attorney General Barr has stated. And of course, we have John Durham. We have the Inspector General. We have the Attorney General of the United States saying full on that he will get to the bottom of all of this. A rigged investigation, a dirty dossier with Russian lies, a real Russia influence story, which, by the way, it seems, and Mueller even acknowledged today that, well, looks like the Russians with that phony dossier were trying to hurt President Trump the entire time. Even the New York Times recognizing that that Russian dossier was likely Russian disinformation from the get-go. Only took them 2.5 years to catch up. That's sad. This country came painfully close. This great democratic republic, the greatest country God gave man, we came dangerously close to allowing a few people, reckless, lawless people, to spread lies, conspiracies, and a hoax, and successfully trying to undo the will of the American people. First, trying to prevent their favorite candidate from being indicted. They were successful. They tried to prevent Donald Trump from ever winning. And then after he won, they had their insurance policy. And tonight, that insurance policy has been played out before the world to see, and it is now officially over.